Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to download and use the Farm Records Book for Management by Michigan State University Extension. So I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a second here. Share. Okay, so you should be seeing my browser now. The Farm Records Book for Management is an online record keeping tool. So it is available on the internet for free. And it is also available for sale in a paper version. And as a participant of the Farm Business Record Keeping for the Global Majority course, I think you're going to be getting a copy for free if you're interested. But if you ever want to purchase a copy, what you should do is search for the Farm Records Book for Management, MSU Extension bookstore. And you will see here, the first link is the Farm Records Book for Management in the MSU Extension bookstore. So it is $15 and you can just purchase it online. Shipping will be added to this, so it will end up being about $20 or a little more than that. So this is an option, just buying it online, getting your paper version at home. You can use it that way. Or you could go to your local extension office and ask if they have copies available for sale, or call and ask and just go to the local extension office if they have copies available. But what I wanted to show you today is the online version, which you can print or just use on your computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type bit like that. Do you see it? It's bit.ly/Farm Records Book. Okay, so you type that on the address bar and enter. And it's going to show me this spreadsheet. You are going to notice that here it says view only, and there are a bunch of tables here that I'll explain what they are all about in a minute. But you know, if I'm trying to type something here, which I'm trying to do here, it's not letting me. That is because this is the copy that everybody will be able to access, and we don't want you to be entering your, expenses or income into this copy. So you need to make a copy for yourself if you want to use this on your computer. If you just want to print this, you can just do that from here. You go print, and it's going to, you're going to want to say workbook if you want to print the whole thing. And if not, you can select which parts you want to print. But let's assume that we want to print the whole thing. And we're going to go next here. And here I can preview how it's all fitting in the pages. And here I'm going to pick an option. I can save it as a PDF if I want, or I can, if I have a printer, I can print it at home. So that's one option, just printing it. The other option is using it directly on your computer. And for that, we need a copy that I can edit. This one, I'm not going to be able to edit. So for that, I actually have two options. I could go File and download a copy as Excel, but the formatting may change a little bit. I do not prefer this option, but I'll show you. You see, for example, this does not look great. It's not really important, but all of the tables will be there. So, I mean, if you're an Excel fan, you can just go ahead and use this Excel version, which is fine. It's totally usable. Or your other option is using Google Sheets, which is like what the original format of this file. And for that, what you have to do is you have to have a Google account, which if you don't, you can create for free. So you would have to sign in, and I'm going to do that here myself. Okay, so now I am signed in to my Google account, and I can still, I want to move this away here, there. I can still just see this as a view only version. I mean, you can request edit access, but you're not going to be granted access, because if you are, then everybody would be able to see your information, and we don't want that. So what I want to do now that I am signed in is create a copy for myself. So I'm going to go to File, Make a Copy, and we can rename it if we want, or we can just say, for example, like that. And then I can just go to like put it in a folder, or just leave it in the general My Drive Google folder. Okay, so I clicked OK. And as opposed to this one, which, you know, was just giving me a couple options, but not much, this one will give me all of the options, and I am going to be able to come in if I want and make changes. Whereas in this one, it just wouldn't let me type. Okay, hopefully that made sense. So now that I have my own copy, I'm going to close this one, and I am going to, you know, I can enter my name. So let me explain a little bit how the, you know, the structure of this farm records book. So here is the homepage, and that's where we're at now. It's just the cover, and there's an index. So basically the way this is organized is, at first there are a lot of tables for you to enter your farm expenses. There are operating expenses, labor expenses in case you hire someone. There are expenses of business property. So for example, if you bought machinery or if you bought land, those types of things you can enter here. There's loan transactions. So if you have a loan, you can enter that type of information here. So this is all farm expenses. Then there's farm income, and there's space for entering cash farm receipts or income from sales of equipment or land or buildings. Then there is a space for tracking personal deductions and adjustments to income. So far, all of this was for farm expenses and income, but there is also this space here for personal stuff, because that matters for tax purposes. Hopefully you remember that we discussed that in module 2 of our course. Okay, so that is the third section. And then the fourth section is the cash flow statement. Then there is farm taxes, personal taxes, production reports for you to enter information on, you know, how much you produced and what you produced. And then there is the net worth statement or balance sheet, the income statement, and financial measurements. Okay, so that's it for the index. Let's just go through everything else. So here is a space for you to enter your address, name. If you want to use this, you can describe your farm, how many acres you have, and so forth. And then we can go to the first page. The nice thing is it has a lot of explanations. So if you're not sure how to enter something, hopefully these explanations will help. And then there's the tables. The other nice thing about the farm records book is that all of the tables and all of the items that it's prompting you to enter are tax items. So this makes it really easy for you to file taxes as a farmer once you have completed the year. So here it says Schedule F, Part 1, Line 2. And so this is exactly where everything is going to be going at the end of the year when you have to file taxes. So this is line 10 of Schedule F, line 11 of Schedule F, and so forth. Okay, these numbers here are just column numbers. Okay, so the first tables here are farm expenses, and you have a space to enter the date, who you bought from, a check number if you want, dollar amount, and then you put this dollar amount that you spent in this general column, and then you assign what column what column the item corresponds to. So for example, if you bought fertilizer, you could put it here. And so I could say, for example, April 6th, I bought at John's Farm Store fertilizer for $200. Oops, $200. And then I'm going to say here again, say it was chemicals for $200. Okay, and I can also put quantities here. So for example, I bought, I don't know, 1 bag of fertilizer. There it goes. Okay, then I can just continue filling this in, and it will even do the math for you. So there's this table here. This table repeats itself here, just so you have a little more space. Same thing here. And then there's part 2, and there's more items in part 2. So fertilizer and lime goes here. Gas, oil, etc. Okay, everything else will go here. This is part 2. There's 3 tables also for part 2 to give you space. Then there's a part 3 with more items like veterinary, utilities, taxes, etc. It works exactly the same way. And that's it for the expense tables. So then there's this table for summarizing. So it's basically the same table, except that it will have stuff, it will have space for you to add your January expenses, your February expenses, and so forth. It also has this row here for you to add your January through November expenses. And this is good for tax management. For you to estimate how much tax you would have to pay and whether you want to, make purchases at the end of the year or wait until the next year. And we can discuss more about that if you want another time. But basically, the structure of that table is the same. There's 3 parts, and there's space to summarize all of your, for example, storage expenses for January, February, March, and so forth. Okay, and then there's a final summary table that just has everything for January, everything for February, instead of having it split by category. So those are our operating expenses. Then there's labor expenses. There's an explanation, and there are these tables for you to enter information about your employee payments if you have them. And there are different tables for you to use, one for each person that you hire. Then there are tables for entering expenses in buildings, machinery, land, etc. So there's space here to enter the date you purchased it, what it was, how much you paid for it. And this is all for calculating depreciation that you already know a little bit about. There are explanations also here on how to do this, and you will see some familiar words here from what you learned in module 3. Okay, so that is this table. And again, there's some more space there. There's 2 tables for you to enter more than, well, for you to enter a lot of stuff. And here are some hints for calculating depreciation and for calculating depreciation. Finally, there's the loan transactions tables. And this is for any loans that you have, how much you owe, how much you paid, etc. So those are these tables here. And that's it for page 1. Page 2 is income. And there's going to be instructions at the top. And there's similar tables to what you had on page 1, except that here you're going to have income items. So raised livestock that you sold or purchased livestock that you sold, etc. Again, these are also in line with Schedule F. And there's part 1, and you have a couple tables there. Part 2 with more columns here, and you can even add your own income items. And there's more space here for you to add income items. And there is a summary table again, just like we had in the other page. Yep. And like a final summary table with all of the categories together. Then there's income for sales of business property. So how much, when you sold it, what it was, when you had bought it, which you will be able to get from your, from the corresponding table on page 1. Sales price, and then you can calculate your depreciation recovery and some things that are important for your taxes. That's that for all of those tables, and that's the end of page 2. Okay, and so basically that's the most important for the farm records book. I don't want to make it long, but like I said, page 3 is medical insurance, doctors, hospitals, like personal stuff that you could deduct from your taxes. So it's nice to have a space to keep track of that. But if you have a personal, record keeping system, by all means, keep using your personal record keeping system. If you don't have a personal record keeping system, at least you should keep track of these things, because then that would mean paying less tax. Okay, here is the cash flow statement. And basically what you do here is add up the information from your income and expenses that you entered on pages 1 and 2, and just put it in a different format. First quarter, second quarter, fourth quarter, year, and same thing. There's some space to add non-farm income. So there's space to add a little more information. There's expenses. There's other expenses. So you could add your family living expenses here. And then there's the summary at the bottom. That's the last table. And this gives you a space to enter your beginning balance that you had at the bank, how much you made from the farm, how much you made from selling capital items. And so this adds up your inflows and subtracts all of your outflows, and like makes sure that your bank balance at the beginning and at the end makes sense. And if not, this gives you an opportunity to go back and make adjustments or like see what you may have missed in your record keeping. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. There's a space here for even for your discrepancy. So if you do find that you have a discrepancy, then, well, it may be that your family living expenses were actually higher than you thought they were, or something like that. Okay, and so you can do that for all 4 quarters and for the year. And that's it for the cash flow statement. Then pages 5 and 6 are farm taxes and personal taxes. And these tables are similar to the tax forms. They are just like on a spreadsheet format. So this is nice because you can add the numbers here and you can do the math of how much your taxes would be before the end of the year. Then there's crop and livestock production tables that you can use. The net worth statement, there's a lot of information on how to write the net worth statement and why. And well, there's all of your balance sheet categories, assets, liabilities. You already know what a balance sheet is all about. And I think at the bottom, there's the, total farm assets, total farm liabilities. And here there's a summary net worth statement with farm net worth, non-farm net worth, total net worth. So some stuff that you will need for calculating your financial ratios, which comes in just a minute. So page 9 is the income statement. And again, it takes information from the income and expense pages, and it puts it together in a different format. So there's the gross cash farm income, cash farm expenses, net cash farm income. Then there's space for making inventory adjustments that come from page 8, which is the balance sheet. And so it gives you space to make all of the adjustments, and it explains how to make them here at the top. And you also should have an idea of how to make those adjustments from what we learned in module 3. So at the end, it will tell you the net farm income, when we already know that the cash income is not a true depiction of profit, and this one is. So you really want to try to get to this net farm income number. Okay, and that's it for the income statement. Then on page 10, finally, there's a lot of explanation, and there's a table at the bottom that gives you space to calculate financial measurements, the current farm assets, or the current ratio, the debt to asset ratio, the rate of return on farm equity. So all of this walks you through how to calculate those financial ratios. And it gives you this page here that you can, print and calculate and have your financial ratios that you calculated by hand for each year in your farm. And that way you can compare whether you grew or not and how things are going. And so this is an overview of the farm records book for management. It goes from simple to more complicated. So if you just complete page 2, which are the expenses. Oh no, this is income and these are expenses. Okay, so if you just complete pages 1 and 2, you will be in a really good shape. And a farm business management educator with MSU Extension can help you do the rest if you just have pages 1 and 2. So you may want to focus on those first, and then try to do the harder pages at a later time. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now, and please let me know if you have questions about it. Yeah, hopefully it helps. Have a good day. Bye.